Hello, everybody. I have a very exciting video today. Kind of strange, actually. um, both about highly educational things, hopefully. But we have a lot of weird things in the world happening, right? So many things. So this video is going to be very important. There's going to be two parts to this. So below this one, I will give you those timing thingies, right? I will allow you to be able to skip, and I will give you the timestamps. Excuse me. I just channeled some information. So as a channel, I go into another place. But today's video, we're going to talk about those monoliths. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not talking about our monoliths that we are very familiar with, the rock ones. I'm talking about those weird silver thingies, like you see in this image right here, that we keep finding sticking out of the ground. Something told me I needed to ask, so I'm going to. That's the first thing I'm going to talk about today, is what God said the monoliths are. The second thing I'm going to talk about is what judgment really is. And both of those are relevant, honestly, because the more we expose, the more we rise. The more I bring up, the more karmic demise. So I like that. Because the more karma we clear, the more we rise as well. And we do want that. And what is judgment? What is happening all the world, around all the world? What is happening? What is going on? What a strange world we live in. So welcome, game changers, soul warriors, light path beings. This is the ascension. Dun, dun, dun. What is the ascension? The return of Christ. It really is. If you want to know what all of it is, there's a lot of that played out on this channel. So I encourage you to like and subscribe and stick around. You don't have to like, but definitely don't put negative, right? Don't bring negative, because I spark your shadow. So my name is Juniper Blue Mystique. I am an ascension master, master healer, and a divine guide. That's the simplest way to say who I am. All right, so let's get into it, my friends. Again, first part is monoliths. I'm going to do it this way. I really wanted to talk about the monoliths, but I know with this upcoming Lionsgate portal, we need to be ready, because each portal that rises, if we're not healed enough, if we can't see enough, we're not rising. We may be falling with the matrix, okay? Because the matrix is this false illusional reality. It is false programming from everything, you guys. There are only little tidbits of truth in things. And then most of the world has been designed to control you, to confuse you, to keep you powerless. Okay, from the dictionary to the Bible to everything that they feed you, their main goal was to take your power. We are seeing this start to play out. We are coming further into the understanding of this, right? From seeing Hollywood start to fall, to seeing more truths all around you, to even what I've been talking about with the government, okay? So what are these monoliths? So I want you to you have to detach from the programming, all of the false reality. I don't care if the dictionary says this definition to this word is this. I don't care if the Bible says this, this, and this. As you rise and you awaken, you should be finding that 98.9% of their world is false, okay? It is time to see the truths, to be the truths, to hear the truths, and to rise into the truth of you, to the return of Christ, the wholeness of the one. All right. So what are these crazy monoliths? Well, before I talk to you about what God says, let's look at a really quick video of what's been happening with them. Okay. Because most of you know about these, right? We've been kind of seeing these popping up all over the world. This is not a very long video. But oh, look, even there's one in Colorado. So that's where I am. So I'm curious about this one. I didn't know that. I knew there was one in Utah and I think Las Vegas. So let's just see what's been coming up with those.
Monoliths have been popping up all over the world in recent years, some in Nevada, California, Wales, and Romania.
And now apparently you can add northern Colorado to the list. Skyfox overhead the newest monolith just this afternoon, and nobody knows where it came from as of now.
Look at them. They're very silver-esque. They're reflective, kind of like a mirror. That's relevant to what I got. So let's listen.
Fox with Gabby Easterwood found out it is the talk of the town. All new at 9:30.
At Howling Cow Cafe in Bellevue, it's been spectator upon spectator upon spectator coming in. Not for the coffee. So it's right up there on the hill. But for this.
I like strange and I like awesome. Those are both kind of describing the last few days.
Directly adjacent to the shop and dairy farm sits the newly erected monolith. Howling Cow's owner, Lori Graves, says it's on part of their farm property, but she didn't even know it was there until a customer came in asking about it.
It was Sunday morning when somebody came into the cafe and said,
so you hear that? She didn't even know it was there until somebody came in asking about it. This was 2 weeks ago. So let's look at another one really quick because we could be here all day looking. Oh, nope, that's the one we just watched. My bad. My bad. Let's look at this one.
Out of this world, maybe that's where a mysterious monolith that popped up in the Nevada desert actually comes from. Think so? The Las Vegas Police Department tweeted out a photo of the shiny oblong structure Monday saying, quote, "We see a lot of weird things when people go hiking, like not being prepared for the weather, not bringing enough water, but check this out. Over the weekend, someone, a user on X, spotted this mysterious monolith near Gas Peak, north of the valley."
The strange object was found near Nevada's Gas Peak, where the Desert National Wildlife Refuge is located.
So you see that? It looks like a mirror. Is that the image I took? I think it might be because I thought it was really pretty, but I mean, maybe I shouldn't. I'm going to tell you what God said about those, but there is lots of them. Okay. There's, oh, somebody took one down. Let's look at this. So you might ask, why are these popping up right now? The vibration of the earth has already shifted. I'm going to talk about that some more.
Now, who took the missing monolith? Four shadowy figures can be seen about to carry away the 12-foot-long monolith in the remote desert in Utah. They posted this video online showing the column after they dismantled it, exposing the interior with the boast, "We removed the Utah monolith."
They were on a mission. They came out there to do exactly what they did.
Photographer Ross Bernard says he happened to be at the site when he witnessed the removal.
Just hit the ground with one of the loudest thuds I've ever heard. One of the guys had said, "Well, this is why you don't leave trash in the desert," as they started taking it apart.
Rivets left over from the takedown.
So, who did it? This adventure tour guide Sylvan Christensen is now claiming responsibility. He says he and his buddies removed the column out of concern about the crowds flocking to the site and the potential damage those people were causing to the environment. People arrived by car, by bus, by van, helicopter, planes, trains, motorcycles, and e-bikes.
I don't know about that. You know, I'm not so sure I would mess with that. Let's hear.
And there isn't even a parking lot, he told Inside Edition in an email. Ross Bernards took the last known photo of the monolith before it was toppled. It looks like it must have been tough for them to do that.
It wasn't, like, it was shockingly easy.
But the biggest mystery is still unknown. Who put it up in the first place?
I would like to know what they saw underneath it. So I'm going to talk to you about what God said. I asked God. I mean, that's who I am. That's who I directly channel with. That's who I directly work with. And that you will find all over this channel. What is happening in the earth right now? Why are these things being seen when they never were before? Do you think they're new? They're not. I'm going to talk to you about that. But the reason why we're seeing these strange things happen, the reason why the swing finally with Mr. Trump and all of this kind of stuff, because a lot of us for a long time have been showing you what's happening. We've been telling you, hey, there's corruption, there's lies, but it's been a battle, right? It has been a battle of shadow to light, from love and darkness. And the truth of what really happened in the world plays out on this channel, and it's not what you thought either. Okay, so number one, they've been lying to you. Number two, the world is not what you thought it was at all. It goes deeper than you think. Okay. Now these monoliths are a part of that. So as we rise in vibration, not only are we going to see things that we thought were extinct recoming, things of the earth we didn't even know existed unsurfacing, coming to the surface. I talked about that a lot when I was activating pyramids and things on my channel. When I did that, things would rise, the earth would crumble, lots of sinkholes, lots of earthquakes, lots of volcanoes will occur, because they're a part of the earth reshifting, okay, taking back her land to what once was and what should be. Now, these monoliths, this is what God says. Are you ready? Are you still with me? All right. So I asked, and then all of a sudden I was just like, so my handwriting can be a little messed up. So bear with me because I channeled it. This is what I do. I channel. I just ask and I get what I get. They are in the earth. They are beneath you. There is actually hundreds of them. Now I saw on something on here that they have actually found like 80 of them so far. 87 monoliths have appeared. Let me read that. At least 87 monoliths have appeared around the world since the one in Utah, I believe. Okay. On November 18th, Utah State found one, but at least 87 have been popping up. I don't know when they started, really. It doesn't say. So that's quite a few, right? So God says there's hundreds of them, and they're all in the earth. So they come up out of the earth. Listen carefully, okay? Because number two, I'm going to talk about judgments. So just be open. All right. As weird as these things just sound, the whole world is weird, right? Things will not remain the same. Trust me. If you don't believe in aliens yet, there's some awakening for you, because there's no way we're the only species. Also, I don't know what video it was that I did of activating pyramids. There was one of them. If you watch my pyramid activations in my Ascension playlist, that's not what you think it is. That is actually using my Kundalini light to activate the feminine pyramids. I did two different ones, feminines and masculines, over Indonesia, Myanmar, Budapest, Machu Picchu, Thailand, and more. There was lots of them. Okay, so when you're watching those, and one of them, some of them are underwater, and I actually undocked an alien spaceship that is in the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, and you can watch that. I'm not making that up. I didn't know that. And I saw what they looked like. Okay. They've been here. So listen to this. The monoliths, they are in the earth beneath you. There is actually hundreds of them. Alien spacecraft and government knows about them. So they already know about them. Okay. They're a mapping system for extraterrestrial activity. We used to not be able to see them. They know we are seeing them now. They help with scattering information like an electrical impulse of communication system. Quantum level physics, right? When I was doing the pyramid activations and things and taking us through portals of time, I said it was all quantum physics level related. Like I can go back to where time started, the existence of life, basically, because time is weird. But this level of understanding is not quite yet in the subconscious collective, okay? But it's rising. It's rising. We're becoming more aware, right? The science that we knew was very third dimensional based and controlled. They would control the information. So it is part of control, but it's also a mapping system. So it's like a two-part is what I'm hearing here. So it sends out like these scattering signals, and it can cause mind scrambling, and it's part of a 5G cortex, that 5G system that they've been putting out. Remember when they pushed that a few years ago? This is all relevant. And then they pushed the V's, they pushed all of that at the same time for a reason. Now, if you're paying attention, there is that mRNA thing in it, and it's not our genetic base. Okay, these are changing our genome pool. That was their goal. So those that relate to that, are part of this system. Does that make sense? And so it scrambles our mind, it scrambles our cortex, and it's part of that 5G system. Now, this is quite complex, okay? I'm just giving you the basis of what you can understand at this time about them and what God showed me. So I'm going to slow down before I finish this and take a sip. So I want you to absorb what I've said so far. The visual I get is these things will rise out of the ground, and they are, see how they're like mirrored? We weren't supposed to see them. We didn't used to see them. They've been here for a long time. We're talking hundreds of years, I'm hearing. And there are hundreds of them, and they've been here for like 100 cycles of lifetimes, right? So for quite a long time. How do I put that? Their time is not our time. So I could say hundreds of years, but you need to be like give or take, right? You need to be a little bit more flexible on what time is, because when spirit talks about time, it doesn't align with third dimensional time cortex, and they lie to you about all the timelines, okay? So keep that in mind. They want me to clarify that. That's why my throat got a little wonky. So our understanding of them to the degree of the totality of what they are is limited, but it's rising, okay? Quantum level physics based, and it is rising. So within these panels, what I'm seeing is it's like this information, like almost like this scrambling information of signals of energy. Now, keep in mind, they've been trying to mess with our DNA. They've been trying to mess with all of those things right when the ascension is occurring. They know what's happening. And if you watch my channel, it's going to make more sense to what I've done, okay? And what is happening to all of you, and what is going to continue happening. And if you're not ready for it, like we are not where we need to be right now for this Lionsgate portal, okay? But these monoliths, again, they are, what I feel like is they are alien-esque, but the government is a part of them, right? So I feel like it's alien spacecraft and government knows about them, mapping system for extraterrestrial activity. We used to not be able to see them. They know we are seeing them now. They help us scattering information like an electrical impulse of communication system. And within that, it also helps to control our mind by scattering the brain signals. Okay, 5G cortex. Remember, they kept warning about 5G and they pushed it in their phone systems and all that kind of stuff. This is all relevant, you guys. And it's making sense to me. I'm like, holy shnikes, Batman. I don't like dirty glasses. Hang on. Bugs me. So it's part of a false grid system. This is what I'm talking about, the Matrix, designed by the Matrix. Okay, been here a while, but this is the first time we can finally see them. All right, so you have been under a control. It's like a shackles that bind you. Okay, we are in a world of shackles that bind you, of a false system that likes to control you. And they do it in multiple ways. And a lot of people call it the 666 matrix because it's all based in mind control. And this is what I would talk about. I am not part of the people who like to put names on those. You're not sheeple. Please do not bring judgments here. And I'm going to talk about judgments and what those mean and how they relate to the return of Christ and all of this mind control type of stuff. We were taught to be external, to focus external on a very small aspect of life. Most people just came here they were just going the day-to-day, right? The day-to-day routines, but they weren't really living. You've been quite controlled. You've been quite shackled. You've been kept down. You know, we've all lived through pain and suffering, and some people attribute that to God. Every time you hear things like, and I know there's been bad things that have happened, none of us are free of something horrible experiences, right? Like losing loved ones, watching suffering, sicknesses, sorrow, these kinds of things occur for all of us. I don't think anybody can escape that fully in any lifetime that they have, right? And so we've all been a part of that. And a lot of people can't figure out how God would allow that. Here's the thing. I'm going to get into judgment now, okay? The world you were in is a lie. God wouldn't allow that. That is not what God is. God also wouldn't have you pray to his son bleeding on a cross. He wouldn't sacrifice anything. There's no bloodshed in God's eyes. There's no division. There's no suffering. There's no sorrow. What happened was all the way back to Adam and Eve, and what they told you was a lie, okay? So they came in, they took the power, they shifted the poles, they created an earth that was not of God. And every cycle that would occur, God calls it like this puppet master that stemmed from the original fallen. And you can watch all about that in my Clearing Mount Shasta workshops, because it was not of light at all. Okay. And I didn't know this either until I did the work, and it was my awakening. And then I'm like, it's a lot to process. Okay. So this is not God. God is not suffering. God doesn't want anybody to suffer. Within the matrix world, we've all created our own karma. Okay. Jesus didn't die for your sins. They tortured him. They poisoned him. The Holy Grail is not what you think it was. Okay. So they have spent lifetimes ripping apart God, taking away Christ's light from here. And even in Revelations 21:12, it speaks of only 12 gates. That's because the 13th is heaven, and they closed it off, okay? So God was truly, truly removed. It could think of the planet as being stolen, as being shackled, imprisoned. And I get emotional because my journey was painful. Undoing all of this and knowing what they really did was not an easy journey. It was very painful. And it's not what they told you, okay? Jesus and Mary Magdalene were twin flames. Adam and Eve were twin flames. And Sekhmet and Hours were twin flames. The Ankh, masculine and feminine. That's our true cross. And how can you be whole in a broken world? How can God get through when it was so hard to penetrate the veil, the false veil of illusionary mind control cortex, okay? And people are rising to this truth now. They're starting to see this more and more, piece by piece, for what they can handle, what they're willing to handle. But we should be further along, let me tell you, because the resistance has been quite strong, right? That's what God calls it, is the resistance. Some of you might call it El Diablo. However, I battled that on my twin flame journey. That was part of my own journey, was aligning to my twin flame and clearing all darkness back to the beginning of time, opening up all 13 gates and returning heaven to earth. Okay, this is true. This is the return of Christ. Now, if you're judging that already, you're not going to see any of this, because only in the purest of hearts, only those who don't hold these shackles that bind them can see clearer, can see the truth, the absolute truth behind it all. And those are the ones who are going to rise through it all, okay? Because God is love. God is unconditional love. And he wouldn't allow suffering. He doesn't like bloodshed, and he doesn't need you to beg for his forgiveness, because he loves every one of you. He loves all of us. There's no division. There is no inequality. There is no suffrage. There's no control over the substances that provide life. Water, air, the ability to be free, free will. Those are God. God, you have your own power that God would never take from you. So where you see that control, where you see fear applied, where you see suffrage and bloodshed, has all been a part of El Diablo, the shackles that bind, the shadow components. There's multiple ways of talking about that, but it's all the same energy. And I find it interesting when people say that God is very smart. He created the opportunity of this darkness, this shadow effect, and that's not the case at all, okay? It's not. He didn't create the world for you to battle. He didn't create the world for us to suffer. He doesn't want suffering either, because why? We're all connected. So what you do affects me, what I do affects you, especially big time. And I know what I did in bringing through the return of Christ, that we all have to rise out of this, okay? And so to do that, we need to truly heal everything, all of our wounds, all of our karma, and come back to the place of being able to truly see the world around us for what it really is, what it really was, and knowing that God is unconditional love. When I did the eclipse on, was it April 8th? God had me do a live that day. So it was like 2 hours, but I actually did the live from like 10 o'clock, and then the eclipse hit at noon. And he had me describe the entire work that I did for the return of Christ, which included the sun and the moon work. Okay, there was work that was done and realignment occurred, unshackling the moon big time, realigning them. And then we called everybody home. I spoke through it and I called everybody home. And God called it another anointing of God, meaning who hears the call? As a gatekeeper, I'm here to see who chooses love above all. Okay, that's not judgment. So then they tell you that God judges, that this is judgment day. And that's not it at all either, because God doesn't judge. It's not a part of love. They removed love. They removed all of these things, and they created this world of scrambled power, because if you're in your full power, none of that would work. They would lose their power. They steal your power. That once the fallen became fallen through free will, Archangel Samael started it. Watch Mount Shasta's part 1 and part 2. Then what would happen is it was like tentacles of darkness, and it comes in, and they do this by keeping you outside of yourself, by telling you so many lies upon lies and making you confused to what is the truth. They divide you to keep your power away. And then they come in through the mind, 666, mind control. 6 is all about the mind. And they get you to see things and believe things and think things that are outside of unconditional love. And you choose to create that in your reality or not. And the moment you choose that, it becomes your karma. Okay? And so your job to rise into heavens above, which is heaven on earth now, everything else can't stay, because you can't do outside of light and the darkness anymore. And you can't bring darkness into the light anymore. And I talked about that when I brought down the actual blood of Christ. They can't do anything to you, only through you. So they get you scrambled, they divide you, they take your power away, they make you feel weak, wounded, fear, all of these low vibrational things. And then they make you think it's God's fault, like God caused the flood, and that's not, God doesn't punish. I get emotional because God is beautiful. I know, I feel him, I've talked to him, I've worked with him through the entire return of Christ. That is who I listen to, that is who I'm governed by, who I don't even like the word govern. That is who I am, okay? And knowing how beautiful and how much love is in the collective God, right? God is everything and everyone, and you all carry fragments of God's light. And this is why they do that to you, to take your power, because that's what they're doing. They took the earth. They like taking souls. They like taking souls because it's their power. So they're going to make you think God did all of these things. God doesn't judge. He's not religion-based. Just Jesus is a religion complex. It's Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And they take these pieces and they get you to pray and believe in a false God. No, God is beautiful. God is love, pure, unconditional love. Now let's talk about judgment, because that's one of the shackles that bind you. There's probably 666 of them. I don't know, but through the 13 gates, these are the portals you're rising through, because the earth is already shifting. And if you can still hear me, okay, but can you really hear me? What lens are you hearing me through is a great representation of where you're at. Okay, so this is what brings me to judgment. God is only love. So if you speak of anything outside of love towards Jesus, towards God, you're in judgment. Okay, so this is judgment. And that's what religion is based off of. God does not judge. We are not in judgment day. It's you reap what you sow day. My job is to measure the hearts. Who heard the call? Who is governed by the matrix, or who is guided by love, unconditional love of the whole, of the heart, of the one? That's what my job is, because I know what I've done, and I know what you have to go through all 13 gates of testaments to the one. Okay. Each time these portals come, you are tested. You are tested almost every day. All of your actions are being measured. That's what they talked about on the pyramid walls. The Egyptians would talk about the scales of justice with the heart on them. How much love do you hold in your heart? How ready are you to rise and let everything that is not love go? So judgment comes from you. It's when you are not in alignment. You are out of alignment. You are not inward. You're focused outward. Okay. When people have an awakening, it's because something happens to cause them to go within. And then they realize they haven't been inside at all. They've been focused outward in this scattered brain space, right? The controlled space, the matrix. So working your 9 to 5s, all of these things, everything they did was designed to keep you there. Okay. Now judgment comes when you are out of alignment, where there's lack of love and understanding. Okay. So God doesn't come here and say, you're good enough. You're good enough. Ooh, all it is what do you choose the whole way through? What can you see? And I would call it the asshole energy. If it gets in your head and you choose to pick it up and throw it at somebody, especially in this space, because when I tell you it truly is the return of Christ here on this page, I'm not lying. You have to be very careful what we say to people, because we're all connected. Okay. So here you go. It is lack of love and understanding. And people always try to tell me, isn't she judging me? No, my job is to see, do you choose love or not? And if you do not, you can't get into the new earth. You can't bring the matrix in ever again. Okay. You have to let it all go, and you have to align to balanced alignment. So judgment comes when you are out of alignment, lack of love and understanding. You're allowing the puppet master, the control, the shackles that bind you, to control you. They get in your head, they keep your vibration low, and they get you to believe these things that are not true about somebody. And then you pick them up and throw them. Anger, wrath. I'm going to get into this. There's more. It's a spectator mentality. So observation rather than speculator. Am I an observer or a speculator? Spectator, right? That's what they call you as an audience. That's what they do to you in the media and the Hollywood programming. They want you to be a spectator. They want you to pick up what they want you to throw. They want you to pick up what they want you to believe. It's not the truth. Okay. It's all about this mind control. It's what the media does. It's what Hollywood's been doing to you. It's the spectator mentality. I'm not an observer. I'm not here to just observe and be open to everything could be possible. Everything either is or isn't. It depends on you, because you have power in you. You are not God yourself, but you carry his light within you. That's Christ consciousness. Can you hear the call in your heart? You have to ride through the one who brought it all about. And it's not a man named Jesus. You're looking for a feminine and a masculine twin flame set. And that is what played out on my channel. That was my alignment to my twin flame. And undoing the Holy Grail, which was not a cup at all. You have to know the truth, okay? But in order to do that, you can't be a spectator. You can't just watch and throw the false programming back at God, because that hurts you. But how can you be whole in a broken world? How do you say you're better than anybody? You can't. Okay? So it is when you are blinded to the truth, unjust justifications. You are no better than anyone. None. You are no better than anybody. I don't care if your teeth are perfect. I don't care if you have the perfect house. I don't care if you have millions of followers. You are no better than anybody. So why do you think you are? God says it's a power play. You are attempting to feel powerful at others' expenses. So I'm going to get further into what judgment is. This is what it is. Okay, but there's more. You think you are better, no more, and feel the need to show this. At least that's the surface level. You belittle, so you feel bigger. Okay? Now, how do you take your power back from judgment? So let me read it again. This is what judgment is from God's perspective. This is not judgment day. It's you reap what you sow day. Do you choose love or do you choose the matrix? Do you choose heaven on earth or do you choose el diablo, lack of light, removal to never know this life? Okay. Only some will stay. Those are the ones who choose to rise. The rest will fall. So something happened to my Zoom and it just quit as I was recording. And I don't know how far you got in or what happened. So I'm going to have to piece this one together for you. So I'm just adding on. You might feel a little glitch in it, but I'm going to repeat again what judgment is in God's eyes, okay? Judgment comes when you are out of alignment, lack of love and understanding, allowing the puppet master to control the mind, to control you, and it's part of the shackles that bind you. They make you weak, they divide you, and they take your power. Now, nothing happens to you. You choose this. It's through free will. You choose to pick it up. It's a spectator mentality rather than an observer. You are blinded to the truth and unjust justifications. You are no better than anybody, so why do you think you are? It is a power play, attempting to feel power at others' expenses. It makes you feel more powerful, like you're better than, or you think you need to let them know that they're doing something wrong. Kind of like on YouTube, you see all these people trying to be a creator, but then all these people have negative opinions about them, but I don't see them getting up and doing it. You know what I mean? Like, who are they to judge? God doesn't even judge. And I see so many people who believe that he does because that's what they tell you. Judgment is not of unconditional love. You think you are better and no more and feel the need to show this. Belittle so you feel bigger. You like to take people's power because they took yours. Because they took yours. If you're in your full power, you don't need to do this. You don't want to do this. So how do you take the power back from judgment? You identify first you are doing it. If you don't believe that you're doing it, then you probably are. Turn your compass inward. You have to be focused inside you because you need to use internal discernment. Any thoughts, visual feelings outside of love that rise towards anyone or anything, you cannot throw it. I don't care what it is. If you think I'm fat or I'm not perfect, you know what I mean? These kinds of things. Or I see people doing this all the time. They try to throw what the Bible tells me about Jesus towards me, and you don't know what you're doing. Because what is it? It's a lack of love and understanding. Maybe you're wounded, right? Maybe there's something bleeding. Bleeding hearts bleed out. So you need to identify you're doing it. You need to turn your compass inward. Internal discernment needs to be used. Any thoughts, visual feelings outside of love that rise towards anyone or anything, you need to go within and heal it and release it. And then until you get a new perspective, those will come in as you're doing this. You'll see things more clearly because you'll realize you are all connected. When it's healed, you express love loudly, right? You're so free to express love, and anything outside of that, you're like, no, no, nay. This is rising above it, okay? Because everything is you. Everything is within you. God says that you cannot see reflections in others that do not reside in you. That's why some of us can't understand or even fathom how somebody could hurt anybody or a child or murder somebody, because it's not in us to align with. Okay. So if you see something in me, fear, if I spark things in you, it's because it's in you to spark. You are projecting. So when you are in judgment, you are projecting outwards what is in you to project out. In order to change that patterning and release that shackle that binds you, you need to be inward only. And anything that comes up when you're watching somebody or dealing with something and it's outside of unconditional love, you need to immediately not express it. You need to express love loudly and then go within you to release that wound it's attached to and heal it. Internal discernment. You cannot speak, see, feel, express anything outside of unconditional love. The moment you do, especially towards the work that I did, because it's very real, or anything God, because that's what they want you to do, it cuts you off from love, because it's a lack of understanding and love. Okay, so everything is within you. The whole world is a reflection of you. It matches your vibration. So nothing happens to you, only through you. It's free will based. And my job is to see who chooses love over the shadow. That's not judgment. That's heart measurement. Who hears the call to the heart? Who chooses love? Who has internal discernment? Who can see the truth and doesn't choose to pick up what is not true? The moment you throw that towards anybody, especially towards the work of Christ, you truly are hurting you. Because number one, we're all connected to the light of God. God is the unconditional love vibration. It's a power play. It's ego mind. It's part of the shackles that bind you. They want to keep you small. They want to keep you in this little comfort zone that doesn't exist, to help bind you. And you have to rise out of that and let go of everything that is not. And judgment is one of the many shackles that bind you. So I hope you guys got out of this what you needed to, because this upcoming Lionsgate portal is massive. And if you don't have your sovereignty from money, from the shackles that bind you, you're going to fall with the matrix. You may already be, and you don't even know it. Okay, because one world is rising and one is falling. So even if, like I said a while ago, almost a year and a half ago now, that we had like 2 years left, that meant until the energy really hit you. So the earth is not going to completely fall until those of us have risen out of it once and for all. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Don't look for the demise, look for the rise. I love you unconditionally. I thank you for being here. I thank you to those who choose to hear me without picking up judgment. And I thank you to those who hear Christ in their heart, who can see true God and know it's not just a man named Jesus they're looking for. But I will tell you right now, Jesus, all of what that is, has returned all the way back to Adam and Eve. It's walking on this earth with you. Open your eyes and you might be able to see what's right in front of you. So much love, my friends. Until next time.